Hey everyone, and welcome to my humble abode, and welcome back to another episode of the Global Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Ali Mehdaoui, and today we're closing out July and stepping into August with a conversation that really brings everything we've been talking about this month all together. Because here's the question. Why do we still talk about mental health and physical health like they're two completely separate things? Your brain is part of your body. Your stress can affect how you feel physically. Your physical health can affect your mood. Your sleep can affect your focus. Your emotional well-being can influence your relationships, your energy, and how you function throughout the day. It's all connected. And yet, sometimes our healthcare experience can feel like we're taking ourselves to different departments. Here is my physical health. Here is my mental health. Here is my sleep. Here is my stress. Here is my children's health. But you only have one you. And that is what we're talking about today. We're going to explore the connection between mental and physical health. We are talking about sleep and mental wellness. We're asking why so many people are afraid to ask questions about their own health. We're talking affordability and access to healthcare. We're looking at how bringing multiple services together can simplify the healthcare journey. And then as August begins, we're turning our attention to families and asking, are our children physically and emotionally ready to go back to school? We've got 7 conversations today, so grab your coffee, take us with you in your drive, and turn up the volume. Let's get into it. Segment 1, mental health and physical health are connected. So let's start with something simple. Your mind and your body are not roommates. They are not two strangers who happen to live at the same address. They're connected and they communicate constantly. Think about the last time you were really stressed. Maybe you had a deadline. Maybe you were worried about money. Maybe there was something happening in your family. Maybe you were waiting for an important phone call. Did you feel that stress only in your thoughts? Probably not. Maybe your shoulders tightened. Maybe your stomach felt different. Maybe you couldn't sleep. Maybe your heart seemed to beat faster. Maybe you were exhausted even though you hadn't physically done anything unusual. That's the mind-body connection. And it works in the other direction too. When you aren't feeling well physically, it affects your mood. When you're dealing with pain or illness, it can affect your emotional well-being. When you're constantly exhausted, everything can feel harder. That's why the concept of whole person health is so important. Instead of looking at one isolated symptom, whole person care encourages us to consider the bigger picture. How are you sleeping? How are you eating? How are you feeling? What's happening with your stress? What's happening physically? What's happening emotionally? Because sometimes the most important question isn't simply, where does it hurt? Sometimes it's what is happening in my life. And I want to be clear. That doesn't mean every physical symptom is caused by stress or mental health. New, severe, persistent, or concerning symptoms deserve appropriate medical evaluation. It simply means we shouldn't ignore either side of our well-being. So here's our first question for the audience. When you think about your health, do you naturally think about both your mental and physical health, or do you tend to prioritize one over the other? Let us know in the comment. Segment 2, better sleep starts with better mental health. Now let's talk about something almost everybody loves, sleep. My goodness, I could use some of that. Or maybe I should just say the sleep we're supposed to be getting, because there is a big difference. You know the routine. You finally get into bed. You're exhausted. You've been waiting all day for this moment. Your head hits the pillow and suddenly your brain decides, perfect, now seems like the great time to review every problem we've had since 2007. But remember, that embarrassing thing that you said 12 years ago? Yeah, brain, thank you. I appreciate you reminding me. It's very helpful. But look, all jokes aside, sleep and mental health have an important relationship. It's actually a sign, an indicator. Stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental health concerns can interfere with sleep, while inadequate or disrupted sleep can also worsen mood, concentration, emotional regulation, and overall well-being. It can become a cycle. You're stressed, so you don't sleep. You don't sleep, so you're exhausted. You're exhausted, so everything becomes more difficult. And then you're stressed because everything feels more difficult. So what can we do? Right? That's the question. Well, start with the basics. Create a consistent sleep routine when possible. Pay attention to caffeine later in the day. Give yourself some distance from screens before bedtime. Create a sleep environment that's comfortable for you. And perhaps, most importantly, don't automatically dismiss persistent sleep problems. Sometimes improving sleep means addressing what's keeping your mind awake in the first place. If sleep problems are persistent or significantly affecting your daily life, that's worth discussing with an appropriate healthcare professional. So tell me, what's keeping you awake at night? Is it work, family, stress, your phone? Or are you one of those people who can fall asleep anywhere in 30 seconds? Let us know in the comments. Segment 3, healthy people ask questions. So I want to challenge an idea today. It's simple, but it's worth evaluating. Somewhere along the way, many people learned that being healthy means ignoring things. I'm fine. It'll go away. I don't need a doctor. I'll deal with it later. And sometimes things do resolve on their own, but there's also wisdom in knowing when to ask questions. If something doesn't feel right, ask. If you don't understand something your healthcare provider said, ask. If you don't understand a medication, you get it? Ask. If you're concerned about a change in your body, ask. If you're struggling emotionally and you don't know where to begin, again, ask. There's absolutely nothing weak about wanting to understand your own health. In fact, being engaged in your own healthcare means participating in the conversation. And don't be embarrassed. Healthcare professionals have heard questions all day, every day. Your job isn't to impress your provider with your medical knowledge. Your job is to communicate what is happening. Their job is to help evaluate it. And if you leave an appointment confused, ask again. Can you explain that differently? What are my options? What should I watch out for? What happens next? Those are valuable questions because knowledge helps you participate in decisions about your own health. So here's my challenge for you. At your next healthcare appointment, don't just answer questions. Ask some too.
At Global Impact Wellness Group, we believe healthcare should be accessible, affordable, and compassionate. Welcome to Global Impact Wellness Group, a trusted provider of nationwide telehealth services. We are a licensed mental health organization dedicated to the care, rehabilitation, and well-being of children, adolescents, adults, and families. Our virtual care platform brings mental health counseling, urgent care, primary care, telepsychiatry, and even pet telemedicine directly to your home. All sessions are secure, confidential, and fully HIPAA compliant. Why choose us? Nationwide access, affordable monthly plans with no hidden fees, and a holistic approach to mental, physical, and emotional wellness for individuals, families, and even pets. Get the care you deserve, anywhere, anytime. Visit globalimpactwellness.com today.
Segment 4. Healthcare should be affordable. Now, we need to talk about something that affects millions of families: cost. You can tell someone, prioritize your health, but what happens when they're thinking, okay, but can I afford it? That is a real concern. See, healthcare access isn't only about whether a doctor exists or not. It also comes down to whether people can reasonably access the care they need. And that comes down to costs, transportation, time away from work with people struggling paycheck to paycheck, childcare. Not everybody can afford that babysitter, appointment availability, geography. Where are you located compared to the healthcare we need, right? These can all become barriers. And that's one reason virtual care has become an important part of the healthcare landscape. Telehealth may reduce some barriers by allowing appropriate services to be delivered remotely. Think about a working parent. Instead of potentially spending additional time driving to and from an appointment, arranging transportation, or sitting in a waiting room, certain types of care may be available virtually when clinically appropriate. That's convenience. But convenience matters because convenience can influence whether someone actually seeks care. Of course, telehealth isn't appropriate for every medical situation, and emergencies require appropriate emergency services. But when virtual care is suitable, it can provide another pathway to accessing support. Healthcare shouldn't become another source of overwhelming stress. People need options, and they need to understand those options. Segment 5. One platform, complete care. Think about how fragmented healthcare can sometimes feel. You have one place for primary care, another for counseling, another for urgent concerns, another specialist somewhere else, another login, another phone number, another portal, another password that you definitely don't remember, and you press forgot password 17 times. And eventually you're sitting there thinking, wait, which password had an exclamation point on it? Healthcare is complicated enough. The experience shouldn't make it harder. That's why integrated approaches to care can be valuable. Global Impact Wellness is designed to bring access to multiple healthcare and wellness services into a more convenient ecosystem, including areas such as mental health and mental behavior, counseling, primary care, urgent care, and much, much more that are available for you in each of your needs. The idea is straightforward. Whole person care should feel connected. Because remember what we talked about at the beginning of today's episode. Your health is connected. Your mental health doesn't live in one box. Your physical health doesn't live in another. It's all you. And your healthcare experience should recognize that. To explore the specific services currently available and determine what's appropriate for your needs, visit globalimpactwellness.com. Segment 6, back to school wellness. Well, that starts right now. So we're officially turning the page into August. Parents, come on. I'm talking to you. Back to school season is coming, and I can already hear some parents celebrating. But before we are buying backpacks and notebooks and pencils and sneakers and somehow spending $200 on supplies that we swear cost $20 when we were kids, there's another checklist we need to think about. The wellness checklist. A successful school year doesn't necessarily begin on the first day of school. Preparation starts before that. Think about sleep. During summer, schedules shift. Kids stay up later. The wake up time is later. Then suddenly school starts and we're trying to move bedtime back by several hours overnight. That transition can be difficult. Gradually returning to a school year routine may make the adjustment easier for some families, but preparation isn't only physical. Ask your children how they feel about going back. Are they excited, nervous, worried about a new teacher, concerned about friendships, starting a new school year, worried about academics? Sometimes we're focused on buying everything children need for school that we forget to ask how they feel about going back to school. So tonight, ask your child, what's one thing you're excited about this school year? And what's one thing you're nervous about? Then listen. Don't immediately solve it. You ready? Listen. Their answer may tell you exactly where they need support. Segment 7, is your child emotionally ready for school? And that brings us to our final conversation. We talk a lot about whether children are academically ready for school. Can they read at grade level? Do they know their math? Did they finish the summer reading? Do they have their supplies? But there's another question. Are they emotionally ready? Children can experience anxiety about returning to school, and they don't always walk into the kitchen and announce, Mom, Dad, I am currently experiencing anticipatory anxiety regarding the upcoming academic year. Wouldn't it be easier as a parent if they did that, right? But instead, emotions may sometimes show up through changes in behavior. Maybe they're more irritable. Maybe they're having difficulty sleeping. Maybe they're repeatedly complaining about stomach aches or headaches. Maybe they're unusually quiet. Maybe they're suddenly saying, I don't want to go to school. Now, none of those things automatically means a child has an anxiety disorder. Physical symptoms should not simply be assumed to be psychological either, but changes in behavior can be an invitation to check in. So ask questions, create space, listen without judgment. Remember, we listen, but we don't judge. You can say, is there anything about school that's worrying you this year? Is there someone you're nervous about seeing? What would make the first week easier? And here's the most important part. Don't dismiss the answer. Something that seems small to an adult can feel enormous to a child. So remember what it felt like. Remember what it felt like being young? A friendship problem could feel like the end of the world. A difficult teacher could dominate your entire day. Walking into a cafeteria and wondering where you're going to sit could feel terrifying. Children need to know that home is a place where those feelings can be discussed safely. And if concerns are persistent, severe, or interfering with your child's daily functioning, consider speaking with an appropriate healthcare or mental health care professional. Early conversations can matter, and you'll find them at Global Impact Wellness. All right, so now that brings us to the end of another episode of the Global Impact Podcast. Today, we connected a lot of dots: mental health and physical health, mental wellness and sleep, questions and better healthcare conversations, affordability and access, technology and convenience, children's physical health and emotional wellness. And if there is one message I want you to leave with today is this: your health isn't a collection of separate pieces. It is connected. Your mind matters. Your body matters. Your sleep matters. Your stress matters. Your family's wellness matters. And taking care of yourself doesn't always require one giant transformation. Sometimes it starts with one question, one conversation, one appointment, one night of better sleep, one decision to stop ignoring something that has been bothering you, or one conversation with your child before the school year begins. So here's our final question for everyone watching or listening. What's one area in your health, in your family's wellness, that you are committing to prioritizing in August? Put it in the comments. Is it mental health, sleep, primary care, exercise, nutrition, your child's emotional wellness? Whatever it is, write it down, because sometimes accountability begins by simply saying, this matters to me. And if you're ready to explore whole person healthcare, mental and behavioral health services, counseling, primary care, virtual care, or other available wellness services, visit globalimpactwellness.com. Again, that's globalimpactwellness.com. Explore the services available to you and your family and take the next step that's right for you, for your healthcare needs. And if today's episode made you think about somebody, well, send it to them. Maybe it's the friend who hasn't slept properly in months. Maybe it's the parent preparing their child for school. Maybe it's somebody who's been putting off asking a health question. Sometimes sharing information is one of the simplest ways that we can look out for each other. I'm your host, Ali Mehdaoui. Thank you for joining me on the Global Impact Podcast. Look, take care of your mind, take care of your body, take care of your family. And remember, your wellness starts with one step. And until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and together, let's continue making a global impact.
At Global Impact Wellness Group, we believe healthcare should be accessible, affordable, and compassionate. Welcome to Global Impact Wellness Group, a trusted provider of nationwide telehealth services. We are a licensed mental health organization dedicated to the care, rehabilitation, and well-being of children, adolescents, adults, and families. Our virtual care platform brings mental health counseling, urgent care, primary care, telepsychiatry, and even pet telemedicine directly to your home. All sessions are secure, confidential, and fully HIPAA compliant. Why choose us? Nationwide access, affordable monthly plans with no hidden fees, and a holistic approach to mental, physical, and emotional wellness for individuals, families, and even pets. Get the care you deserve, anywhere, anytime. Visit globalimpactwellness.com today.